All right, we are recording. Hi, my name is Jonas Agree. I go by Galactical Online, and here today I am going to be working on the 1 hour game jam for Give for Good Louisville 2024. So we were going to originally do this live, but unfortunately our Spectrum Wi-Fi has completely gone out. It's a wide outage all across the area. Very unfortunate. I would have loved to do this live on stream and interact with chat and stuff. The stream was going great, but hopefully we'll be able to get this uploaded before the day is over. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this pre-recorded, and we'll get this on our YouTube page a little bit later. I still think it'll be fun. But I promised that I was going to do this game jam live, and by golly, I'm going to do it live in a sense that I'm going to record every moment of it. We might get interrupted here and there. I've got other people here at Warp Zone Louisville with me, but enough dilly-dallying, let's get to it. I am going to be doing a jam that lasts exactly 1 hour. You can see the timer right above me. I'm going to start that in a second here. And I'm going to be doing the jam with a theme that was submitted by a donor. Give for Good Louisville is an annual event where we are soliciting donations from the public and from our members to help us fund our organizations. Louisville Makes Games is a nonprofit, and that is what we are doing today. We are fundraising for that event. You can see the total up at the top. It's actually over here. $1,000, $1,076 out of our $5,000 goal. I think that's still accurate. I don't know. I don't have Wi-Fi, but it's somewhere around there. Thank you so much to all of our generous donors, and the day is far from done, although we are offline. But nonetheless, let's continue this. So I'm going to be getting started doing my 1 hour game jam using Puzzle Script. And let me get that timer started really quickly. After I start it, I will reveal to you what the theme is that I have received. All right, we should be counting down. Yep, we are counting down on the stream. My theme is hunger. Just the word hunger. I think it's a really good one. So there's a lot of cool things that we can do with that, but the thing that's really important is we are working within Puzzle Script, right? So that's going to limit a little bit what kind of things we can do, but also enable me to work faster, so hopefully I can actually get something done in an hour. So this is Puzzle Script with its sort of default game loaded up. This is basically just Sokoban, which is just a puzzle game where you push blocks around and you're on a grid. That's what Puzzle Script is best at. It does really well with anything that's just limited to a square grid. So that will be a limitation that we're going to keep in mind while coming up with the idea for this game. So hunger. There are different ways to interpret that, and I'm going to go ahead and start interpreting it. Just brainstorming some different ideas for what we could potentially do here. Hunger makes me think of starving, like starve after some moves, right? Find food. We could even do it just a puzzle game that's somehow based around a kind of food. That could be a good thing. We could a good grid-based puzzle game that's all about eating is Snake, right? Snake is all about a snake that eats apples. That's the whole goal of the game, is that you eat and you get larger. I guess that's closely related with hunger. So something based around Snake could be a really good starting point. I can think of, I know that I wouldn't want to do something real time. I would want it to be turn-based and all about being sort of a puzzle. That's just the easiest thing to do here. You can do real time in Puzzle Script, but I'm just feeling like doing something turn-based and more predefined puzzly. The best game I can think of as an example of someone making a really good sort of like turn-based puzzle game out of Snake is Snakebird. It's on Steam. I would highly recommend it. There are 2 games in the series, Snakebird and Snakebird Primer, and it's basically Snake, where you're a snake that can eat apples and grow, but with gravity. Something like that would be really complicated to try and get working in Puzzle Script in this limited time. So I feel like we've got to find something interesting we can do with a snake that is top-down, like the original Snake, but the moves are turn-based. Sort of hard to wrap my head around what exactly I want that to look like, but I could go ahead and just get something started. I mean, that might be good. To just get a thing on the page. Yeah, I'm thinking about the easiest ways to do everything. I'm thinking, what if we start out with a snake? So I'm thinking about the sort of logic involved with snake, and it's going to require a lot of effort to get it working in PuzzleScript correctly. So a really simple way to have a character that feels like a snake is just having something that's 3 blocks long, right? It'll never create that 2x2 snake pattern where you then have to infer where things came from and whatnot. Or you could just kind of have each side of the snake needs to be directional. I think that's kind of, yeah, that's a good way to do it. So let's why did I wrote snack, I meant to write snake. Let's just get started with snake that can move in 4 directions. So I'm going to go ahead and define those directions as objects in PuzzleScript. That's the first step to doing this. And then what's cool is you also do the pixel art in the text right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. You just sort of draw out this little grid of spaces and put zeros. Basically, this is color 0. I could add another color red, but to start out, I'm just going to get one color. And I'm going to go ahead and define all the directions. Snake right, snake down, snake left, and each one of them is going to get an arrow pointing in a different direction, so you can kind of visually see what's going on. This art will be temporary, maybe. I might run out of time to improve it. So this art might be permanent, unfortunately. Not the end of the world, though. All right. So those are 4 directions. This still has some of those nonsense objects that I just don't really need anymore. Let's see here. Remove these sounds. We don't need these. Remove these collision layers. Okay, and then what we want to do is assign this to a collision layer. So snake up. We'll just put them all on the same collision layer. Snake right, snake left, snake down in no particular order. Yeah, so that's sort of just everything right there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so that's going to be our level. And so we can just go ahead and load that level. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Win condition. That was still set for the old sort of base game that starts in PuzzleScript. Okay, yeah. So this is just like basic, only what I need in PuzzleScript. The snake up things have not been added to the level. And then I can use a level editor like this. But now I'm going to set the legend. So the legend sort of says what characters represent what things in the level. So let me do URDL for the different snake heads, or the different snake body parts, actually. It's going to be important when we differentiate between the head. So snake up, snake right, snake down, snake left. Okay. And those have already been assigned to there. But then we need to know which one the head is on. So then, slightly confusingly, we're also going to have basically underneath parts. Or I'm sorry, explain that poorly. We'll also have to have separate letters that denote player and snake up, so that when we're building our level, we're able to place those two things in the same tile. We're able to represent them in one tile. So what I'm going to do to test that is I'm going to say S, that's going to be the snake up with the player's head on it, and then we're just going to put U and a U underneath, and so we should have a snake that is the size of 3. Yeah, but he's not going to have any kind of interesting behavior. And we can tell right now which part the head is by which one has this black square on it. We'll change that later. But yeah, everything should just follow that. So we need to get that system working. So let me see. The best way that we are going to be able to do this is we're going to let the player move freely. But if the first thing I want to check is that before anything else happens, if the player is on top of a snake body part, and I can add that to the legend actually, which is cool. So I'm going to say snake body equals snake up or snake right or snake down or snake left. So we're going to define a rule here that says if at the end of a player's move there's a player and a snake body on the same tile, that it should just cancel that move. That was an invalid move. Yeah, because in this game there's not really going to be a fail state. What I'm imagining, sort of, and I guess we'll just figure it out as we go. That's kind of the way we're doing it right now. It's like Snake, but you're able to just move forward and undo your moves, and sort of like figure out the ideal path like a predefined puzzle. That's what I'm thinking. So we can run this, and what should happen is, yeah, it looks funny. It doesn't look like a snake yet, but anytime that I try and move and it ends up with the snake body still being on me, then it'll just cancel it. So basically these snake body parts are acting like walls. Now the next step here is we're going to need to make these things follow the player. So here's what we're going to do. Oftentimes it is worthwhile to create temp objects. So you do logic and puzzle script a lot of the time by creating objects that are invisible, but they appear on the screen and play a role in the logic of the game. So what I want to say here is that if safe, is that what I want? Basically, I want a system where from this first move right here, when I move left, we should then start a chain reaction where any snake body part, every snake body part should look around itself. Let me just start writing this out. Every snake body part should look around itself. So snake, and this is going to might get a little tedious because we're going to have to write it a very specific way. If there's a snake body next to the player, then what should basically happen is that snake body should not only move to where the player is, but instead of being whatever generic snake body it was before, it should basically become in the direction that it's moving, right? So this thing right here would move left. It doesn't matter that it's an up. It could have come from down. The rule is just this gets destroyed, it moves here, and it becomes facing in the direction the player moved. Sounds a little confusing, but that should work. And actually, let me get a different temp object to do this. So we're gonna call the object target. We need to put that in a layer. It's invisible, so it doesn't matter. So I just put it up top. But you still have to define a collision layer for it to exist on. And I'm actually not going to make this target the player. I'm going to make this target the target. You see? But then what's going to happen is it's actually going to switch places with the target. So this rule that's going to happen here should do a lot of heavy lifting for us. As long as, let me make it first so that late any player should have a target on them. Oop, that would destroy the player. Let me type player and then target. Okay, so what's going to happen here is first it checks for an invalid move. Then it puts a target onto wherever the player is, assuming we haven't found an invalid move. Then it's going to go through all the snake bodies, and if a snake body is next to the target, then it will move the snake body to where the target is, switching places with the target, so the target now propagates backwards in the snake, and it'll change the direction of that snake. Sounds confusing. Actually, I'm seeing there might be some potential problems with this, but let me just see how this works. It doesn't, but that's okay. Player should become player target. So we have some neat debugging tools in Puzzle Script. Basically, when I'm here, there's a background of player and a snake up in this tile. That sounds right. But then if I move to the left, there's a background, a player, and there's a target here. Oh, what am I talking about? Here's my issue. I forgot to use this for all 4 different directions. So I need to make 4 copies of this rule, basically, where it applies in each direction. So up, right, down, left. Okay, so left. So now if I run it, hopefully this will work. All right, not quite. We're getting close, though. We're getting closer. So I move left. The target moves back. Okay. The problem is I need to be continuously iterating over this process instead of just running it once. So we're going to say start loop, end loop. It's another cool thing you can do in Puzzle Script. So basically, it's just going to keep looping over these rules until they literally cannot be applied anymore. And I can already see, I don't think this is going to work because I just realized a problem, but let me just let it play out. Okay. Yeah, that would do it right there. So there's another debugging tool. Let me get that working. Verbose logging. And so if I run the game and then I move left, look, it's going to show me every rule that was applied and in what order. So we're going to see where that unless loop started. So first, the player moves to the left and it applies the rule, puts the target on the player. Next, it correctly takes that one and moves it to the left. From there, destroying the other one, and it doesn't push the target back. Or wait, does it? Oh, it does. The target is invisible. What am I talking about? Yeah, the target got pushed back. Then these two both get applied, and they move properly. But then the thing is, the target is now that invisible square that's at the very bottom. You can see it. It's just sort of clear square underneath the arrow. And that arrow now, on the next turn, thinks that it needs to move towards that. So we need a second temp object that says done moving. Also make that transparent, apparently. No, transparent. Oh yeah, I called it done moving. It is transparent. It's not named transparent. Okay. So then there's going to be an extra check right here on the left of each one of these where it's going to say snake body. You can not only check that tiles are in a location, you can check if they're not there. So a snake body with no done moving on it. So this rule will only get applied if the snake body does not have the done moving object attached to it. And so also what we're going to do is then, after we've caused the move to happen, we're going to put done moving onto the snake, wherever that snake body has ended up. Done moving. Done moving. Done moving. Alrighty. Not quite. The issue I'm making. Okay, that's a funny mistake to make. At the end of the turn, I need to delete the target, right? And the done movings. Because those are temp objects, and we need to start with a clean slate at the beginning of each turn. So, target should become nothing, and done moving should become nothing. Okay. There we go. We now have a snake, and you can see what its direction is. It's moving. You are not allowed to move backwards into it. Is everything correct here? Maybe not quite. There's something funny going on here. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't be able to do this in Snake. So, that's a bit of a problem. But, Yeah, what on earth is... It's got to have something to do with the order in which things are being checked. Yeah, okay, so if there are two things that are next to the snake, then that is going to cause a problem. Now, I foresee a problem, and so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the executive decision to stop doing all this, right? I'm not going to start all over with the idea. I'm just going to make a snake that's very tiny. He's just going to be a two-block snake, because clearly I'm struggling with this logic right here. So let me do that. Yeah. Basically, yeah, a two-block snake, but then that could be interesting, because what if it's just a two-block snake, but the snake can also move backwards, you know? Yeah, let me try that. Let me just see how that feels, and then I bet there's something interesting that could be done with that. It'll just be like a little, like, starving snake that wants to eat food. I think, yeah, that would be kind of neat. So yeah, player, snake body, cancel. What I actually need to do here is just say, here's what it is. If the rules are this simple. If there is a moving player going towards snake body, then not only should the player be moving, but the snake body should be moving with the same direction, right? And then the other thing is, if there is, now let's see here, I think snake body will just be an object that has no direction, basically. Snake body, green. B equals snake body. H, well, actually, player should just be player, and there's no snake body on that. Okay, cool. Remove the snake body from that. Put the snake body on collision layer. Actually, we'll put it on the same collision layer as the player is. We'll see why that's important in a minute. So then, for this test level, we'll say that's the body, that's the player's head. So we got the moving player, his little snake body behind him, and yeah. So then this is one of the cases. Basically, if you move backwards in this game, you're allowed to do that, but it'll like push your snake sort of backwards. And the other thing that you can do is, if the player is moving, actually, let me make this easier. If the player is moving and there is no snake body, then what should happen is, oh, and I can make a separate group and say, but there is a snake body somewhere. Then the player should continue moving, but the snake body will spawn right there where they are. And and that other snake body should no longer exist. Now the problem with this works great, but player and snake body need to be in the same collision layer so that they're able to bump into each other, and potentially against crates or other things that might end up being in the game. And that's not going to be okay here because the player in the snake body will, even if it's just for a moment, be in the same location. All right, here's a hack to get around that. I'm going to add an extra layer beforehand, and instead of making the snake body appear where it should end up still, I'm going to make it before where it should end up moving. The issue with that is that the game will break when the player goes to the edges of the map. But then what I'm going to do to get around that is just put walls at the edges of the map. So equals wall, and I'll just do that on every level, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. And then here in the center, I want to put the player. I want to put his body behind him. Okay, and this should work. Just 2 simple rules for how this all works. Player moves into a snake body. Yeah, that's cool. Object wall has been defined but doesn't have a collision layer. That's no problem. Oh no. I've really just kicked the problem down the road now that the snake is gonna appear in the wall. And they need to be on the same collision layer as well. Alright, look. I gotta lock in. Okay, so we're going to put all those there. And then here's the actual way that I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, if there's a moving player with no snake body, but there is a snake body somewhere else, then we're going to go ahead and just let the player keep moving. Yep, player will move. And the snake body will get erased. But the key here is we're going to put a direction to each one of these. And then I'm going to say the player is moving right here. We are going to say, oh, wait a minute. I don't need all this. I could just have it say moved. Sick, even better. Yeah, then I'll just put a temporary object that lives above everything on the player that says moved. So moved, and then the moving player, and then the snake body is gone. And then I should say right here, if there is a moved somewhere in the map, then I should remove that moved and turn it into snake body. Okay, sick. That should work with everything, and shouldn't be a problem with the wall or anything. Let me add the wall to a collision layer. Yeah, that one did not work. What on earth is going on? So we got verbose logging. If I move to the left, these 2. So the player wants to move. Moved, moving player. Well, why is the player not moved? Oh, the player's turning into a snake body. This move needs to happen after everything else. All right, there we go. Cool. Look at that. We got a little snake just moving around. You can see his head. Why on earth did the player just move into that wall like that? Here, I'll say moved, no player. Here, so we need to not remove the snake body up here. Remove the snake body here instead. So yeah, if there's a moved with no player, and then otherwise, if there is still a moved, then we're going to need to just remove that. Okay. Okay. It appears that things work basically as intended. Cool. So we've got a very, very tiny snake who is running around the map. And there are walls that can get in his way. I think that a thing that would be interesting is then we'll just do the basic thing where we have him pushing around crates. So I'm gonna add a crate right here, yellow, I don't know, and then we'll make it hollow in the center. Yeah, maybe we could have it be a thing like, oh, here's a good one. What if the snake's goal is, we can make it cute thematically. The snake wants to build himself a sandwich, right? So this is a snake that's not concerned about eating apples. He's trying to, yeah, build his sandwich. And that would just be a big sort of like a layer on top where each level might, yeah, then that's more, I could do some art like that where, let me worry about that after. Let me do one quick thing. Let me give the snake a look. 5. Just so you can differentiate the snake's head from its body. I will do all that. Go ahead and put the crate right there. Yeah, look at that. So, I think this is a starving snake. He's just a really tiny guy who's very hungry. And then, yeah, I guess my main concern here is maybe so then we just have a little interesting thing right here where what if you had a little extra thing that was attached behind you while you were trying to play Sakuban, right? That would change up the game a lot. And so I want to make the levels that are going to take unique advantage of that. Let me shelve the sandwich thing. That would require making a bunch of different objects. I'm going to go ahead and just make an apple. Basic little apple for him. 5. You know what? We'll do it like... What? No, that's not right. What I'm trying to do is select all these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, make it all blank. But then we'll put that there. And then a little green right there. So we'll call that an apple. But he's not going to eat apples to make him grow. He's going to push them into location, sort of like Sakuban, right? And this looks more like a pepper than an apple. But that's fine. That's really fine. So, yeah. I am kind of thinking, how can I make it make more thematic sense that you're pushing apples into place? I mean, I don't know though. We'll say target. We'll just make it the yellow abstract thingamabob. 2, 3. There we go. So that's the target. The target needs to be on the collision layer that's between the background and everything else, so that it's underneath the stuff. Cool. What to do next? I should give them something on here. I'm just going to call it crate because I might change it to something else. Like, I do think it's really funny that he would be building slices of a sandwich, but then that kind of restricts my level making, so I don't know. Maybe he's trying to box up apples, right? Like he wants to package them to save them to eat later. I don't know. I really don't. Okay, so the star is going to be the crate. O is going to be the target. Cool. So then I can just type things down here, or I can use this as a level editor, so I can sort of more intuitively like change the size of stuff and then grab objects that are in the legend and put them in. Yeah. And then it just spits out the text right here, and I can take that text and replace this with that. So that's what I'm going to do. And everything should work right with edges, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is our guy right here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have a rule that's kind of before everything else, just the player should be able to push crates. So we'll say the classic thing that's in every one of these is moving player to a crate. Should give you. Got some people trying to come in. Moving player and a moving crate. We'll give that a test. Hello, Glenn.
Hey.
We are recording the 1 hour game jam, and we are going to upload it later. So just doing live commentary on it. It'll be fun. You can probably get it uploaded once the Wi-Fi comes back. Hello. We've got visitors.
Do you want your sandwich in the fridge, or?
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much. If you're going back there anyways.
They made
Yeah.
one of our sandwiches wrong, so
That happens.
we got to keep it. So.
Nice. Got an extra. Great. Okay, so I just set the win condition. Let me make sure that that works. So we're going to have an apple, and we're going to have one target. And so if we push the apple onto the target, yeah, we win the level. And then that would just take you to the next level. I don't know how many levels I'm going to be able to make. And I like the idea of packaging apples. So we're going to call the game Starving Snake Packages Packs in Boxes. That's the name of the game. Catchy, right? So I think that's about it mechanic-wise, and we've got 25 minutes left. Mechanic and art-wise, that's really all that we need. The next thing to do is just see what we can do with this puzzle idea that's interesting, right? We've got it all programmed in. So what is different about Soccer Man when you've got this? Oh! If you've got all, if there's no apples on the screen, then you've got all apples in their boxes. So that's funny. Yeah, we just need to start making the levels. I think the first thing that pops out to me that would be interesting about this mechanic is that it might be difficult for you to go back in a certain circumstance. Hello, Alex. We are recording. Hello. So if I built a tunnel like this, you're good. If I built a tunnel that was like this and tried to move through it, I wouldn't be able to go back through. That's really interesting. And so what is going to be the best way to make a level that takes advantage of that? Let me just put this back where it was and put an apple in a crate in it so that it doesn't keep closing as I do this. So it's like I imagine you go through the top, you come out, and there's something, because you want to like push the apple through there, but then you're not able to return. How can I make that tricky? I'm not sure. We can start it like this and basically just do a push right there. Okay. Sounds like the internet is back. We are gonna, so then we can push that in there. So that's a working level. But then what if I had a wall that was here in the way, sort of?
A cute little snail.
Yeah. What do you think the snail's name should be?
That sort of ends up being a
Kosia?
little bit interesting.
I can live in a plant.
What did you say her name was?
Kosia. I don't play
Kosia.
games.
Because yeah, basically, if you went into there
You don't play a game?
and there was another target with the apple not on it, then you would go down here and you would be unable to return and unable to beat the level, so you'd have to undo all that. That's kind of cool. Now it's a matter of making that tricky, and how do we trick the player into actually doing that?
Mommy, can you play a game for me?
Right, so could also Oh, oops.
Cold. The movie.
Forgot to place the other one.
Papa, can I play a game?
Pokemon. Yeah. This is the art that they have.
Awesome.
This is the art
But
that Justin donated.
Yeah, I will finish this up.
No,
So
no, no.
you can push that in there, but what I'm gonna do is
I wanna play
Bowser Blastoise combo.
Okay.
basically if you just sort of like position the player
Oh,
What is that?
such that it seems like they kind of have to do it this way,
Delivery service.
ah,
then that will
that's what I thought it
Don't
was
put
about.
on
Yeah.
Kiki or War Princess.
So,
probably
I
make
think
them do it.
that if you wanted to watch Kiki, you probably would have to do
Sick.
it on the iPad.
So if we did that,
Because me and Glenn and Jonah are doing
well,
like a TV show where
where should the apple go?
playing games and talking to people online. Do you want to watch us do it?
Basically be in here,
Can I sit? I gotta sit where you're sitting.
should have a target. And so I'm just thinking that's sort of like a place it could be where it's sort of like
Type. You've never seen a Jenga before.
out of the way a little
Hey
bit.
Nola, do you want to make a video with me?
You know, you could go down there, and then that would be,
Or made one? Don't say thank you. I haven't done it yet.
yeah, you would have to spin around. So I mean, I guess this
Do you
could
wanna make a
be
video with me?
sort of a version 1 of the puzzle.
No. Wanna play this game because I like this?
Yeah. So what's interesting is, my hope is, like the hypothesis is that the player is going to want to go down here, but then they'll realize they made a mistake. I want that to
So
be
you're gonna do a
more tricky.
1-hour game jam?
Based on a theme.
Did you get more
So I could
points?
make it look like
You got a couple.
it's possible to do.
Okay.
I can't get one.
That's a little bit tricky though.
Yeah.
I could make this a little bit smaller even. I could put this here and this here.
First one was
I don't know how.
always loose change. That was kind of
Okay.
I could,
Alex Garvis got. Let me show it to you.
if this is open, then it is actually possible.
Last night, and I was just like, posting themes into the forum.
Like literally.
Yes. But we need more because it seemed like there.
I can make it so that there is technically an opening, but maybe it's like one that you couldn't actually fit through properly.
Sandwiches are not just for birthdays anymore.
So,
Nah.
Yeah. Alright.
there's one that I hope I get, but also I don't know any which one.
All right.
Alright, 1076.
We will call that a level.
It's awesome.
That's probably about the difficulty of maybe being a level 2 or something.
One and more.
Look at the pixel play.
First, I want people to understand sort of what the goal is because it's probably going to be confusing.
Oh, I need to do one.
2, 3, 4, 5. They'll think that it's just regular snake, but I want them to know this is not average snake at all. The apple, which is this, and the target, which is this.
Look at the schedule.
Oh,
See where we're at.
We might have to
I like the idea that I would force you to use the back of the character to solve one particular puzzle. I think that that's a good idea. So make this push into here. Oh, yeah, that's going to end the level.
play this game.
Well, why?
Now,
don't
I'm going to
you
let them
phone me for
set up
I have
their stream,
Hey, which one?
and I might move into the other room while I ponder this problem. Apologies if the audio was a bit hard to make out for a minute. But the timer's still running. We don't cheat. When we say 1 hour, we mean 1 hour, and that's it. So, I've got a puzzle here where your snake can push this ahead, and I want to sort of force that move. Ooh, you know what's good? Let me just make it so that there's 2 around here, and just do this, right? So then you would be able to see that this is roughly what you're supposed to do. That's cool. So you push an apple. Oh, what's going on here? Good, I found a bug. Okay, it's actually not good. Okay, yeah, I need to make that work properly. The other thing you should be able to do is push an apple with your back. So that's another rule that I'm going to add here. Basically, what I'm going to do is just make it so that it's like, if there is a moving player, snake body, crate, that should be, the player should keep moving. Snake body, whatever, we'll deal with it later. And then the crate should inherit that movement. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run that. Cool. Okay, that should just work. That should work well. All right. There are always little things that you miss when you're trying to implement the rules that you find when you start doing puzzle design like this. So it's good to just start making the puzzles really quick. I might even make the increase in difficulty more gradual. Because what if I did another level that was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where the player starts, we'll say right here, body on the left, they need to move to the right, and then they're basically just following a sort of like pathway that they're a little bit forced into. That's cool. And we'll make it so that you push the apple all the way up into where the crate is. How does that look? Cool. I might make it less restrictive, right? The next level's sort of stuck in a tunnel, so maybe the first one should be like, you know, the first one should just be you in a cage with the apple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And we'll just say that it goes right there. So this, we will say that this is actually going to be level 1. Level 1, level 2, level 3. Make sure this is beatable and everything. Cool. Hello. I'm recording the video right now.
Hey, I want to see it.
Okay, you want to see it? Well, this is what the video is going to look like. You're going to be in the video. And the video is all about me making a game, and that's how much time I have left to make it. 13 minutes and 58 seconds.
Okay.
So I gotta focus. It's a game about a snake pushing apples into boxes because he's hungry. Or maybe because he's not hungry and he wants to save them for later. I'm not sure yet. But we'll see. It isn't done yet.
Okay.
So.
That's kind of funny.
It
That's
is.
a funny game.
It is. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's a scary game.
Mm-hmm.
That's a scary game.
It definitely is.
What kind of game was that?
This is a puzzle game. 4, 5.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So.
How you got here?
In a car.
He's working. If you can distract him.
Good seeing you. Thank you. So, we are going to do, for this last level, I say last level, it's not going to be the last level. For this most recent level, there's got to be other stuff that is interesting about this character that we've created, right? What are some other shenanigans he can get up to, right? It's hard for him to move back. That was good for that puzzle. He is not able to push apples 2 in a row, right? That's pretty normal Sokoban stuff. But you know, let me add something else to the mechanics. Let me do this, right? Let's say powerful. You'll see where I'm going with this. You'll see we're going to change up the mechanics to be able to make more interesting puzzles. That's a thing that happens every once in a while. So we're going to say powerful is another object. It's going to be a temp invisible object. Moving crate, powerful. And then what we're going to say right here is, if there's a moving crate with powerful on top of it, then, and that crate is next to another crate, I think you see where I'm going. That crate will keep moving. It will stay powerful. And the next crate will move and be powerful, right? So it creates more of a distinction between the front and the back of the snake that I think is really interesting. And then the most important parts is we need to remove powerful at the end of the turn so that we don't have a bunch of powerful objects laying around. And so you can see we don't add the powerful object when we do a normal push. We're going to rebuild this in the same test level. And so if I were to push this with my head, it doesn't work. If I push this with my tail, it works. That's really fascinating. That is an interesting thing to be able to do. What can I do with that? There are a few different ways we could take advantage of this. Do we want to let it be a surprise to the player, or do we want to force them to learn it, right? Right here, we force them to learn about pushing with the back, right? Here we just sort of use, you know, some surprise about not being able to turn around. But right here, it might be a bit surprising that you're able to push 2 at once with the back. So let me do it this way. It's going to be not quite as forced, but it's still going to be forced, basically. Let's put our snake in jail, right? Jail. And the issue with jail is the door's right here, but there's 2 apples that are in the way. And so people are going to try and go through like that, but they won't be able to. And so it really does force you to give this a shot. And not only that, then you have to do an extra little move to get back inside. Yeah, that's really interesting. I love that. I'll do it like this. All right, so this is the start of the double push level where you learn about how to do that. So you go in there, then you need to come out. Then you've got one that you need to push upwards and one that needs to stay down. Ooh, yeah, what if there was a target? Ooh, that's really good. If there's a target inside of the prison, so you've got to put that apple into prison. Ah, that's pretty cool. Now, this is obviously not solvable because when you do this move, you're locking one of them down to the very bottom of the map. And I think that's cool. That's all right. But what I might do is restart it. Make sure I copy the most. I'm not sure if I copied this. But, yeah. We are going to have... make it possible for you to accidentally push it too far in order to hope that you won't end up doing that, if that makes sense, right? And that's really all that we need in the level, I think. Yeah, that's quite an interesting looking level. What? Oh, what am I doing? I totally forgot how the game works. Yeah, so then you need to back out and come out a different way. Yeah, awesome. Awesome, it's a cool looking level. There it is, it's level 4. Yeah, I feel like that level's, it's too simple. I kind of want to go back, but I need to make another level that's a little bit more challenging. I think That's going to be the final one. So I guess we'll just go with the very basic theme of like, I want to make a level that combines everything that you've learned so far, right? Push apples into boxes. You can push with your tail, and you often have to. You can multi-push with your tail only, and the order in which you insert the stuff matters a lot. That is a lot to try and do in one level. So little time, I'm just gonna... man. Okay, so this is interesting that you've got two that are in a row. You want them to go someplace else, but they are... but you're not able to get your back to quite face them like you would want it to. So then maybe there could be a little trick where there's a thing that's like that, a thing that's like that, a thing that's like that, a thing that's like that. Oh, wait. This is interesting. It's like you want to push those apples down because you see that pattern and it matches so well, but you know that it's impossible. But the only move you can even make with these guys is pushing it with your tail like that. That gets a little painful. Ooh. I forgot. Undoing your moves in editor mode can also just undo everything, period. So, all right, let me take this. Set it here. So this is our level. The first move that we need to make is this in order to push that up there and push this over to there. Okay, so the other thing that I want to do here is I want to emphasize the order piece. I want to make it feel like you really just have to push. It's a little bit tough. You like really want to push that there. I'm going to tempt you. I'm going to tempt you so hard and make you think that you have to like you're going to start here and you're going to be like, oh yeah, okay, let me put that apple there. And you're like, oh shoot. And then the puzzle's impossible from there. Yeah, that's really interesting. I think I could shave off this dimension and it wouldn't change anything. Yeah, so you push that there and then the puzzle's completely impossible. You're done for. So you need to do that. Then you need to loop around. Then you need to push that way. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Sometimes I like to have a rule where the levels should be as small as they possibly can be. Not necessarily every time, but I find that it's a good way to make things easy to read and quicker to move through for the player. Okay, so yeah, I think this is a pretty good and interesting puzzle right here. We didn't use the one-way door, but that's fine because I think we ended up with a good puzzle regardless. Okay, so yeah, then we really need to push this down here, this over here, and this down here. Okay, beautiful. That is a good level right there. Oh, any way that I can... Okay. I might be able to clutch one last thing into this game. Or can I? No, it's good. Don't break it. Oh god, how do I make this level more interesting? Dang, I really don't know. What if I poke some holes into the wall? Maybe, make you think something else is going on a little bit. I really don't know. I mean, does that let you do a different, like an alternative solution? I really don't think so. Yeah, but it also does not really make the puzzle any better. Doesn't really matter. Oh my gosh, we got 3 minutes. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Just experimenting here. Actually. Boom, boom, boom. You gotta say boom, 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 boom. No, that's no good. Alright. Doing it like this. That's just how it's going to stay. All right. The game is basically done. Starving Snake packs apples in boxes. Disable verbose logging. Is this the final art we want to have for everything? Yeah, looks fine to me. In boxes. But is not allowed to eat them. And then apostrophe sad face. Oh no! You can't. Starving Snake packs apples in boxes, but is not allowed to eat them. But is not allowed to eat. Okay, the them. No, the them doesn't get cut off that bad. Okay. Super simple game. 5 levels. Tricked myself there. That's a good sign. Right here, you'll have to see the interesting back pushing mechanic. But there's so much more you could do with that, which is really, I guess that's a good feeling. And this level I think is pretty good. It does a good job of tricking you for sure, because it really looks like you should be supposed to do something else. And then that is all. I'm going to add a home page. It goes to makesgames.org. Why not? And share. Boom. There it is. This link goes to the game now. Let's see, is our timeout? We've got, 22 seconds to spare. 22 seconds to spare. That's beautiful right there. Well, probably going to make an itch page for it. I don't think that counts towards my time. It doesn't, right? Oh, they're busy doing something. But, yeah, that is it. And look at how weirdly formatted my timer is. All right. And the timer freezes at 1 second. I coded that in Python in like 2 minutes before I started this recording. And also made a timer on my phone in case that didn't work. But luckily it did some way. So, yeah. That was the process of creating Starving Snake. Packs apples in boxes, but is not allowed to eat them. All right. I hope you enjoyed watching that. I hope that was enlightening. We are going to have a lot of other jammers spending 1 hour creating games based on themes. Again, my theme was hungry. And we've got a lot of other themes that have been submitted by donors. Tonight, we're going to see a lot of other creative people make some really cool stuff with those concepts. And I hope you will watch that stream. They aren't going to do it live like I am, but we will be able to see the presentations later. And I also hope you will donate to Louisville Makes Games for Give for Good Louisville. So thank you so much for watching, and see ya.